Rookie kicker. Rookie kicker.
There's going to be situations like this again, and he's going to make those kicks. And, we're going to be better for it. We're going to win those games.
Shedeur Sanders will be the third quarterback as a developmental emergency guy, but this is Joe Flacco's ride.
The Cleveland Browns just did the most Cleveland Browns thing ever. Again. They had the game locked in, the comeback rolling, the crowd buzzing, and then heartbreak hit like a sucker punch. A missed extra point, a game-winning kick that flew sideways like a drunk frisbee, and an interception bouncing off their own guy's hands straight into the defense. To top it off, their rookie kicker walked off looking like he aged 10 years in 10 minutes.
Rookie kicker. Rookie kicker. Hey, you know what, Schmitty? I'm not blaming you, kid. You never even kicked in a game before. Cost us a game. Bad news is you're 0-1. You blew a golden opportunity to start 1-0. Good news is the Browns are not as bad as everybody thinks. All right? Now, it's going to take a lot. I'm sick. I'll be honest. I'm sick. But we'll get through it. We'll be all right. Schmidt happens. See you Monday.
But in the middle of all that chaos, one unexpected player stole the spotlight, Shedeur Sanders. And no, he didn't throw a miracle touchdown or pull off some jaw-dropping highlight. Instead, he walked over to the rattled rookie kicker, gave him a quick dap, and whispered 5 quiet words that sent shockwaves across the league. Just like that, everything flipped. Suddenly, this wasn't about another Browns choke job. It was about whether Shedeur just showed the world who the real leader of this team is. Because let's be real, there are bad teams, and then there are the Cleveland Browns, a squad loaded with talent on paper but cursed when the pressure's on. This game wasn't just another collapse, it was a whole Cleveland nightmare rolled into one. A missed extra point that threw off the rhythm, a field goal attempt that wasn't even close, and for the final dagger, an interception that ricocheted off their own receiver's hands right into enemy arms. Total disaster. You couldn't have scripted a more painful ending if you tried. And the wildest part, everybody watching already knew it was coming.
You know, one last time with this group.
How is that going?
We're feeling good. Yeah, everything's good. In life, it's always going to be pain. It's always going to be things, adversity, things that's going to knock you down sometimes. But the main thing about it is you just got to push through it. There's a lot of people in this world that's going through stuff. But, I'm playing for a lot more than just me, So regardless of pain, that's always how I've been, even in college, So in high school and everything from when I was young. Regardless of, physically, if I don't feel my best, I still got to go out there and execute with no excuses.
When Joe Flacco lined up for that last shot, fans at home held their breath, but deep down, they braced for the heartbreak. Because that's what always happens with Cleveland. Year after year, the Browns reload. They grab flashy talent, bring in big names, hype up the season like it's finally their year, and then, boom. When the lights get bright and the pressure's razor thin, it all crumbles. It's like the football gods themselves lean down and whisper, "Not today, Cleveland." Talented players, decent coaching, preseason hype, it all disappears the moment it actually matters. Instead, it's chaos, bad decisions, and meltdowns every single time.
Week 1 against Cincinnati, and all the behavior of the reps in training camp, the way that they divided or allocated the reps in training camp, the personnel groups the quarterbacks were pairing up with, it would have led you to an obvious conclusion that Shedeur Sanders, Adila Gabriel, had no shot ever really to start week 1. This was not a fair quarterback competition. That really wasn't, by the behavior, by what people were seeing at camp every single day, by the beat reporters and what they were telling you, and by some of the leaks that came out eventually, which were, oh, these guys are miles behind.
The fan base has built an entire culture around suffering. It's not just losing, it's how they lose. And somehow, they always find the craziest way possible. A fumble at the wrong time, a missed kick, a tip pass, it's almost like clockwork. But here's the shocker. This time, the most talked about moment wasn't even the loss itself. Because when the final whistle blew and the air got sucked out of the stadium, a rookie stepped in and flipped the whole conversation. No snaps taken, no helmet on, but somehow Shedeur Sanders delivered the biggest highlight of the night just by making one move that no one expected.
But let's go over this article real quick. It says, locker room ready to turn on Kevin Stefanski as Shedeur Sanders get Browns QB news, says an insider. After quarterback Joe Flacco pushed the Cleveland Browns to the 2023 playoffs, which was 2 years ago, the next season with Deshaun Watson at the helm was supposed to be their year, bruh. But safe to say, they went from a playoff team to almost unwatchable. Unwatchable, dog. But them being unwatchable has been the storybook of the Cleveland Browns' existence these last 20, 30 years. It's completely unwatchable. Nobody want to watch the Browns. Everybody talking about the Browns. Now, with the 2025 season
While Browns fans were melting down over yet another gut-wrenching collapse, the cameras caught something totally different, something you almost never see from a rookie backup quarterback who might not even see the field this season. There was Shedeur Sanders, cool as ice, walking straight over to the rookie kicker, the same kid who had just blown not one, but two crucial kicks with the entire season vibe on the line. The whole stadium was buzzing with frustration, fans ready to tear him apart, and in that pressure cooker moment, Shedeur stayed calm, steady, locked in. He gave the kicker a dap, a nod, and told him flat out, "You're gonna be good." No big speech, no drawn-out pep talk, just a sharp, confident line that hit harder than anything else that night. The clip spread like wildfire online, and people couldn't stop talking about it. This wasn't just a classy gesture, it was commanding. Here's the wild twist. Shedeur isn't even close to being the starter. He's the emergency third stringer, another rookie just trying to find his place. But in that moment, he looked like the most composed man on the entire roster, maybe the only one who wasn't spiraling into chaos. That speaks volumes about who he is, how he was raised, and why so many already believe he's more than just raw talent. That 15-second exchange screamed future franchise leader. But let's keep it real. Leadership speeches don't change the scoreboard, because while the locker room tried to rally around those words, the Browns did what they do best. They collapsed. With under 2 minutes left, the game was theirs to close. And of course, they found one more way to throw it all away. Total heartbreak. Joe Flacco, the 38-year-old vet scooped up off the street, was bawling out like it was 2012 all over again. Sharp reads, crisp passes, zipping the ball with confidence. For a moment, he looked ready to drag the Browns to a gritty Week 1 win, like he'd turned back the clock. But the Browns don't just lose, they find the wildest, most soul-crushing way possible to blow it. It all started with that missed pat. Early, quiet, easy to brush off at first, but that single point became a ghost that haunted them the entire night. And then came the backbreaker. Final drive, seconds left, Flacco puts the ball right on the money, hits the receiver square in the hands, and somehow it still turns into an interception. The ball popped into the air like some broken video game glitch and dropped perfectly into the defender's lap. You could feel the energy leave the sideline in an instant. Momentum dead, optimism shattered. Everybody knew the nightmare had returned. Even with Myles Garrett wrecking shop at the line of scrimmage, even with the defense clamping the Bengals for most of the second half, none of it mattered. Because when the heat cranked up, the same old mistakes showed up. Drop passes, missed kicks, turnovers in the worst moments imaginable. It was Cleveland football in its purest, most torturous form, and everyone watching could feel it. As the game slipped through their hands, one chilling question started buzzing louder and louder. Is this really about the players? Or is something rotten inside the walls of this organization? Because at some point, it stops being bad luck and starts being straight up bad leadership. Year after year, fans cling to hope that this will be the Browns team that finally breaks the curse. But every season, it feels like deja vu with new faces in the same old story. New energy, flashes of greatness. But when the game's on the line, it's like clockwork. The Browns collapse right on cue. And now the spotlight isn't just on the players. It's shifting straight toward head coach Kevin Stefanski. Is he really the guy to fix this mess? His post-game speech hit all the right cliches. We'll learn from this loss. The effort was there. We'll bounce back next week. But listen close. It didn't sound convincing. It sounded like a man repeating the same lines after watching the same horror show for the 4th season in a row, and that's why fans are boiling over. On paper, the Browns are loaded. Myles Garrett played like a monster, blowing up the line all night. The secondary was locked in. Joe Flacco, 38 years old and signed off the street, gave them everything they could have dreamed of. Even the rookies flashed potential. But when it mattered most, the wheels came flying off again. And now fans are asking, is this really about talent? Or is this team just flat out undisciplined, unprepared, and too soft when the pressure hits? Take the kicking game, because that turned into a nightmare of its own. In his NFL debut, the rookie went 1 for 3, missing a chip shot extra point and a 36-yard field goal that should have sealed the win. In a stadium already cursed with heartbreak, that was all it took to trigger a full-blown online meltdown. Browns Twitter went nuclear. Cut him, bench him, release him by Monday. Harsh? Maybe. But this isn't a franchise with room for error. Every game feels like a trapdoor waiting to open, and missed kicks are daggers they just can't afford. Here's the kicker, literally. Big Riz isn't some fresh-faced 21-year-old rookie. He's 27, supposedly the safe bet, the steady leg. Yet after this game, he walked off looking like a man with the weight of an entire cursed franchise strapped to his shoulders. And honestly, that's exactly what it felt like. And here's the paradox. While fans torched him online, inside the locker room, it was a whole different vibe. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie nobody expected to say a word, stepped up and brought calm to a chaos-filled moment. Even Myles Garrett, the heartbeat of the defense, showed him love. Garrett shrugged it off with perspective. There will be games like this. We've all been there. That kind of grace doesn't come easy in Cleveland. But here's the truth. One missed kick doesn't sink a team. But when these moments stack up year after year, you don't just lose games. You build a culture of collapse. And once that mentality seeps in, no amount of talent can save you. At some point, it stops being about a bad bounce or one player choking. It becomes about the pattern. And the Browns' pattern is brutal. It's not just losing, it's the how. Heartbreaks, last-minute collapses, bizarre blunders that turn promising squads into punchlines by mid-season. The scariest part, the talent is real. Myles Garrett is a generational pass rusher. Denzel Ward shuts down elite receivers every week. They had Nick Chubb, one of the most reliable backs in football. Joe Thomas is a Hall of Famer. Josh Gordon at his peak was untouchable. Even Baker Mayfield, for all his flaws, gave this city its first playoff win in nearly 20 years. The ingredients were there. Over and over. And yet, what's the result? No deep playoff runs, no sustained success, just a carousel of chaos that keeps spinning season after season. Eventually, even stars get fed up and leave, and the cycle resets with new names in the same old story. Coaches come and go. Quarterbacks get swapped out like cheap light bulbs. But the vibe? It never changes. And that raises the question every Browns fan dreads. What if the real problem is the entire culture? Look at Shedeur Sanders. Fans were actually relieved he didn't touch the field. Why? Because they were terrified the Browns would ruin him before his career even began. That's not a lack of loyalty. That's historical trauma. This is a fan base conditioned to expect failure. When rookies get greeted with fear instead of faith, when any sign of success is treated as a fluke waiting to crash, that's not team culture. That's a broken system. Sure, talent shines, players flash greatness, hope sneaks back in. But then, like clockwork, something collapses. You can swap out the kicker, shuffle quarterbacks, even reshuffle the staff. But until the culture itself is rebuilt, it's the same tragedy told with different names. And if you thought the Browns had a nightmare Sunday, the chaos around the NFL showed they weren't alone. But the key difference? Other teams look fixable. In Miami, the Dolphins imploded so badly, it looked like somebody dropped banana peels in the backfield. Tua threw multiple picks, and people actually started asking if it was time to bench him. Wild talk. But still, that's a mess you can clean up. Over in Atlanta, it was deja vu. The Falcons found yet another way to choke late despite having firepower all over the field. Falconing has become its own meme, and even they wear it with shame. But again, they've got a young quarterback, flashy weapons, and a plan. And even the Giants, yes, the Giants, led by Danny Dimes, managed to flip the script and deliver a confident win. For a week at least, Daniel Jones looked like he belonged. That's the difference. Their chaos feels temporary. Cleveland's feels permanent. Other teams fall apart, but then they bounce back. They recover. They adjust. They learn from the mess. With Cleveland, though, growth feels like the missing piece. These aren't just weekly problems. They feel permanent, like a curse stamped on the walls of the franchise. No matter who walks through those doors, they eventually catch the same bug. Indecision, mental errors, miscues, and fourth quarter collapses that feel inevitable. Fans watch other dysfunctional franchises stumble, then rebuild, while year after year the Browns stay chained to the same old demons. And that's when it hits you. The problem isn't just players, it's identity. Until Cleveland figures out who they are. Beyond the memes, the frustrations, and the legends they let slip away, they'll keep watching other disasters clean themselves up while proudly wearing chaos as their own badge of honor. But in the middle of missed kicks, tipped picks, and another meltdown fit for a blooper reel, something rare rose from the rubble. Leadership. Not from the coach, not even from the veteran quarterback, but from a rookie backup who might not throw a single pass this season. Shedeur Sanders didn't put on a show for cameras. He showed up for a teammate when it mattered most. Calm, steady, composed. The type of poise you can't fake. And Joe Flacco, he didn't light up the scoreboard, but he gave them vintage cool, sharp reads, steady hands, and the kind of veteran presence that kept them within striking distance even as the walls caved in. Between the two, you caught a glimpse of something this team has been starving for: emotional stability. Flacco brings that old-school poise. Shedeur brings future star maturity. And together, their influence might be more powerful than any single touchdown drive. Because here's the hard truth: the Browns won't be fixed by one player or one play, but by changing what they stand for as a team. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Public Secrets for more deep dives into the chaos.